YouTube and toys panel with Pixel Dan and Nerd Therapy. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, go down the row here and let them know who you are.
My name is Mark, part 1 of 2 of Nerd Therapy, and I was going to cut you off.
Go right ahead. I'm Ashley, part 2 of Nerd Therapy.
The better half.
Oh, that's sweet.
I'm part 3 of Nerd Therapy. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you can if you want. We'll bring you on.
Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan. How's it going?
All right, so let's just start off and we'll just go down the line and tell you how you got started in this is a really varied and interesting group here between the two of you. So give us some background here.
Who do you want to start? You want to start? You want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay, go for it.
So we're kind of known for Funko Pops. That's kind of like the main thing that we started off with. And I don't know if you guys, anybody in here likes Skylanders or likes Skylanders. It's kind of dying off now, but we used to watch some videos on YouTube, kind of like really interesting when people would go and hunt those things down in the store. It's like I don't know, just really interesting to us. And then we saw these pops, and this is before the craze until it blew up, and they're everywhere now. But back then, you really had to hunt them down and go to comic shops and find the really rare ones.
Yeah.
And I just said, hey, maybe somebody will want to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, when we first got into it, we saw them in the store. We first saw them at Books A Million, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, what are these? These are really cool. So we got on YouTube, and nobody had videos of them. So we're like, okay, well, maybe this would be kind of cool. So we decided to do Skylander hunting, but with Funko Pops.
Nice. Sweet. Well, I hope my story's not too long and boring. But way back in, gosh, 06, 07, probably 2007, I got really interested in videos that had just started popping up fresh on YouTube about video games, retro video games. And there was one guy specifically that I was super drawn to. You guys might have heard of him, the Angry Video Game Nerd, James Rolfe. And I started watching his stuff, and I just thought it was amazing. And I instantly got this like motivation where I was like, I can do that. I could do something like that. I want to do something like that, but I should do it with something that I'm more familiar with. So I took the toys route, because I like retro gaming, love it, but I've been a lifelong toy collector and fan. So I started, just out of nowhere, decided one day I was going to start my own YouTube series called From Pixels to Plastic, which was a series about toys from video games. And the reason I started with that is because the video game videos were so popular at the time that I kind of wanted to get my own little slice of that by going the toy route, because none of those guys were talking about the toys based on video games. Once I started doing that and found some mild success with it, and I was having fun with it, I decided I wanted to start talking about other toys that I loved, especially stuff that I grew up with. So I started doing videos on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And right about that time, I started doing videos on the vintage toys. Mattel had announced and launched a brand new line of Masters of the Universe figures. So I got the first figure, I did a video on it. Next thing I know, He-Man.org and Mattel are both emailing me saying, hey, that's really cool. Would you like to start doing this for us on a regular basis? And that's how I got my first connection with a major toy company. So I started working pretty closely with Mattel, started reviewing the Masters of the Universe Classics line, and it just grew from there, because I love all toys. I always say for the love of toys, because I'm a big toy collector. So I started reviewing everything that I love. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my other big thing that I love. Started reviewing a lot of DC stuff, Marvel stuff, and it just went on from there, and it turned into what it is today, and I never would have imagined way back in 2007 that I'd be doing this still, but it's awesome.
Dan, how many regular followers of your YouTube channel do you have?
Currently I'm sitting at almost 170,000 subscribers on my channel.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did each of you grow your subscribers? Like when you started out and you started your channels, how did you grow the number?
Say the biggest thing is just marketing yourself. Getting out to places that there aren't a lot of people doing things. The good thing about when you review toys, or even boxes, and we do a lot of unboxing things, when you do a box and, as your subscriber count goes up, your videos will go up in the feed or whatever. So what's nice is if you can find things that people aren't doing, then people will find those. And that's probably the best way we saw growth, is just doing a ton of stuff and just throwing out a ton of content. Because there are people out there that will watch it. That's probably the best thing that we've noticed anyways.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like with ours, We do a lot of different types of things on our channel. We do a lot of toy reviews, we do a lot of Funko, but we also do a lot of random boxes that we get. I think we have, 15 to 20 boxes we get every single month. And so, I mean, just kind of going out there and finding things that are different that nobody's really doing is a big thing.
Yeah, I agree with that too. If you guys follow my channel at all, you'll see that I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And it's partly because it's easy for me because I like toys in general, but sometimes you just gotta throw things at the wall and see what sticks. You know, it's always good to do videos on the things that you're really passionate about because those are always gonna be like your shining. I mean, people can tell when you legitimately are passionate about the thing you're talking about. It shines through in your videos. So I always tell people that too. Like, don't try to fake a video, don't try to fake your way through something. Be yourself, be genuine, because people can see that when they're watching you, you know? And if they can tell that you're legitimately excited or having fun with what you're doing, they're more likely to start following you and subscribe to you. So try a little bit of everything. Don't be afraid to try different things. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone a little bit if you want to try something a little different than you're used to, just to see what the crowd is willing to watch. And that's kind of what I did as I went along. And gosh, if you go back and watch the early stuff on my channel, it's atrocious. I hate it. I hate looking at it. But
Everybody's awkward.
Yeah, everybody's awkward.
you can see the evolution, you know? I mean, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it, the more you figure out little tricks that make things look a little better, or that will save you some time, or, you know, just little things to improve yourself. So it's, I guess the old adage is true. I mean, you know, the more work you put into it, the better it's going to be. Just don't stop. Just keep trying, and eventually you're going to find something that works for you.
So what, when you started, I'm assuming it was just a home video camera, or even maybe in a big VHS machine or whatever. What do you use now to actually create the videos?
Can we start? Okay. So when I first started doing stuff, I picked up just one of those little mini DV tape camcorders at Circuit City because that was still a place. And you know, I think I got it on Black Friday because it was like a $30 camera. So I bought that, and that's part of the reason why my old videos are so terrible. I hate them. I filmed everything on these little DV tapes, and then I captured the footage raw, and then I went in and edited it, and it was bad. But you know, you learn as you go. So I'm at a point now, I've been doing this for almost 10 years, which is crazy. So now I use a Canon XF100 professional camera. It's an HD video camera. Took me a while to be able to do that, but that's what I use for all my filming. But I use that for both the toy filming and when I'm traveling, because I also go to a lot of conventions, I do a lot of interviews and stuff like that, and that's why I chose that specific camera, because it's got everything I need for specifically on-the-go stuff. It's got mic ports and everything. But I also have a second camera, which is my DSLR camera for still shots. So I use two cameras for every video that I do, because I always do footage and I do still shots. And I then go through and I edit all of my photos and I edit my video together. It's a very time-consuming process. But I also have lots of studio lights in my house now to make sure things are well lit. I use Adobe Premiere to edit my stuff. So there's a lot of equipment that actually goes into what I do now as opposed to when I started out.
Premiere Bros.
Yeah.
Premiere Bros.
We
Premiere's
use
the best.
Premiere too.
So we started with the now defunct flip cameras.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awful. The lighting was so bad. Everything was orange. It was awful. And then now we use the Canon T5i. We did the T3i. T3i is good. It's a real good camera. It doesn't have autofocus, and it's got a few problems as far as that goes, so we use the T5i now. And then this little guy, which you guys are on there, the HX80, the Sony HX80, which this is just like it's a vlogging camera basically, but it's good to have. We do a lot of in-store hunts, so, you know.
Yeah, this is a
It's
little...
really awkward to take.
Yeah, because if we try to take in like our big camera, people come like, what are you doing? So we try to take this in with us. It's a little more inconspicuous. Like nobody can really tell what you're
That's a good
doing.
idea.
And I have a pivot head. So I don't know if anybody knows what a pivot head is, but a lot of people ask, how do you have both hands when you go to store hunting? There are glasses that record, so I put them on my hat and I look, you know,
That's
But-
cool.
It's not as bad as having a camera in my hand like this.
Yeah, I mean, people still look at you because you walk around with sunglasses on in the store and they're
Yeah, in the store.
what is this guy up to?
What's that doesn't look shady at all.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
raining.
I lost all self-respect a long time ago.
I have a GoPro too that I just recently got, which is great for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
walking around and getting some general footage. I walked into Toys R Us for Force Friday for when Force Awakens came out. They did the midnight opening for Force Friday, and I wanted to try to film it, so I actually took my big Canon XF100 into the store with me. I got like 2 feet into the store, and they were like, "Sir, you can't film anything in here. You gotta go." And I was just like, "Well, that was a buzz."
Look at those glasses.
Yeah, I need some of those glasses.
You got a big Tracy in, man. Yeah.
Have any questions? I mean, there's got to be.
You mentioned you have
Yeah.
15 boxes of blind boxes coming in a month. Do you pay for that? Do you have sponsorship that pays?
It's like half and half.
Yeah, it's about half
honestly.
and half.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you start boxes, if you make good videos that people see, you get. I mean, we do 15 boxes, but we probably get 50 emails
At least.
of people, and a lot of it's dumb, honestly. It's like, I just made a new box, and you look at their website, and it's like broken, and it's awful,
Things don't
So
work.
you got to pick and choose. And
Member
that's
of
a,
the Month Club is not one of yours.
no, but we do like food boxes. That's one thing that we get a lot of people, a lot of companies ask us to open their boxes to eat more before.
Yeah, I mean, people love to watch your reactions with food boxes because you have to think like different cultures have different foods that are notorious for that, and like we use a lot of the Japan crates that we get and Tokyo treats. They have a lot of the red bean flavor, red bean paste, which is absolutely terrible for us. But people love watching that reaction because you're sitting there gagging on all of this disgusting stuff. But somebody in the world really likes that food.
They also have candy in toilets. That's a thing
Yes.
that you eat out of a toilet.
Yeah, you get like this toilet and then it's like some kind of odd liquid and then it looks like it's green and yellow, which you're like, I probably shouldn't be drinking this, and then you have to take a straw and drink out of the toilet, which is completely awkward.
That's amazing.
Brown and yellow.
You actually brought up something worth talking about too, though. I think people wanting to send you stuff all the time, all the emails that you get, because that's a regular thing that I have to sift through now too.
Yeah.
It's always really exciting when you're first starting your channel out, and all of a sudden people start emailing you saying, "Hey, I want to send you this. Hey, I want to send you that." But you quickly get to a point where you realize, okay, I can't just take everything that people want to send me because it's free. I don't do this to get free stuff, regardless of what people on the internet might tell you.
Absolutely.
And you get to a point where like so many people want to send you their stuff, and sometimes it's just not worth it. And plus, you got to manage your time wisely. You got to do the things that are, like I said, that you're going to be more passionate about or enjoy doing, because otherwise you're just the guy doing a bunch of commercials for people. And some of these people, they're going to send you stuff that might not be the best quality stuff, but they're going to expect you to hype their stuff up.
Right.
And you got to have integrity sometimes. You can't just do that for everybody. So if any of you ever do get in a position where you're doing videos like this and people start emailing you wanting you to do stuff for them, do your research. It's very important to research it first. Sit there and really decide, is this something that I want to actually spend time on my channel? Is it going to help me? Is this a good thing? So always do your research on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not letting them take advantage of you too. I think that when you have a YouTube channel, you get a lot of viewers. People watch your stuff, and sometimes these companies just want to send you a box and say, hey, they want to hype. The email, they'll hype it up and be like, we'll send you free stuff. And the box is like $9. That's not worth your time. I keep in mind that your time is valuable.
Right. Yeah, free stuff does not equal adequate pay sometimes.
Definitely.
Your time is valuable, and you don't want to spend a lot of your time putting together and editing a video of something that's just not worth it and it's not going to get you views in the long run. And some of these companies try to come to you and say, but I'm giving it to you for free, like that's some big favor to you, when really you're doing the favor for them by promoting their product. So just always keep that in mind if you ever find yourself in this situation.
I kind of have 2 questions.
Sure.
One is, how do you balance your time? Do you actually set out a schedule of how much time per week you're going to spend on this? Do you also have day jobs?
Yeah.
Do you make a living doing this? And I forgot my second question after saying all that.
That's okay. Let's tackle that first.
Yeah, we'll do that one.
That's a great question. I get asked this all the time. I do have a 40-hour-a-week job in addition to this job, which I consider this YouTube job full-time as well, because I put just as much time, if not more, into this as I do my day job. I'm just not at a point where I'm comfortable ditching my day job, because the day job offers things like benefits and stuff, and I have a family. When you're working off of YouTube, you're an independent contractor, basically. It's an independent business. You run your own business. I mean, I file my taxes. It's my own business. I have to file it that way. I have to claim it as a business. I get taxed for having my own business. It's all kinds of stuff that people don't realize when they're looking at you and saying, oh, they're making money off of ads. You don't realize how much taxes I have to pay on all that stuff. It's crazy. But as far as scheduling goes, I'll tell you, it's still something I haven't quite figured out yet. Mostly because I have a 2-year-old now. So I have a wife, I have a son, I have a 40-hour-a-week job, and I do this YouTube thing. And it's just something that I have to make work somehow. So my days usually consist of doing my day job, coming home around 5, spending a couple hours with my son and my wife until he goes to bed. And then after he's in bed, I spend the rest of the evening until I pass out working on YouTube stuff. And that's my week.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But if obviously the dream is to be able to do the YouTube thing full time. If I ever get to that, that's going to be great, because then I can spend my days just getting so much done. I say that all the time. Man, if I could just focus fully on this, I would get so much more done. So maybe one day. We'll see.
Never enough time.
Never enough time.
Well, my life is very similar to yours. I have a full-time 40-hour-a-week job, plus I go to grad school, plus YouTube.
Wow.
So I'm pretty busy from sun up to sundown, and then sometimes till really late in the evening. So yeah, it's very time-consuming, very tedious, but I don't want to give up my full-time job, because YouTube doesn't provide benefits, so
Right.
you have to go out there and get that, and health insurance is quite expensive on your own. So yeah.
And I mean, that's true for like anybody that owns their own business.
Right.
They know
Yeah.
how that is. I mean, it's expensive to run your own business, and
Right.
YouTube is no exception. If you get to a point where you're trying to run it as a business, be prepared to run it like a real business.
Right.
Everything that's involved with owning your own shop or anything, same as running a YouTube channel that's successful.
Yeah, you have to keep track of all of your receipts because of taxes,
Yep.
all of your expenses, your mileage, all of that, because everything adds up, and you want to try to write off as much as you possibly can with your taxes. Anybody who owns their own business understands that.
I have a tax guy now. I never needed a tax guy before this, but I have an actual financial advisor that helps me with this because I needed it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's
Let me
crazy.
tell you about our tax lady.
All right.
She's awesome.
She's awesome. There's no better tax lady ever. She has a whole wall of Charlie Brown toys.
Yeah, she does. She's pretty
Nice.
cool.
In her tax office. We knew we came to the right place.
Yeah, well, as soon as we walked in, we're like you.
You'll get it. You'll get what
Will
we do.
do.
It was very hard, the first tax person that explained what we did. He was like,
Yeah.
what?
He was like, what's this YouTube
Like, we
business?
just reviewed, we were for Google, just give me, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, we work for Google.
Yeah. No, luckily with our relationship, I work from home because I'm a digital artist. So a lot of times when, I'll work like from 1 in the afternoon to like 6 in the morning, go to sleep, she'll go to work, and then we'll film like
Yeah.
8 o'clock at night, and then just,
After I'm done with homework or in between writing a paper or my thesis. So yeah.
it's a hit. You'll see some lower eyes.
Yeah, people are like, your eyes are really bloodshot. Yeah, we haven't had sleep for
Like,
3 days.
You on drugs? No, I'm tired. Man.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
So I guess maybe to dovetail on that, for those who don't get it like me, literally the way you make money from a YouTube channel is ad subscriptions. Is that basically ad revenue?
So yeah, you get a cut of the ad revenue of the commercials that plays on the YouTube videos, and that is really the primary source of income for anybody on YouTube. You'll see some people who pick up brand deals and stuff like that. I mean, YouTube has really become television now for most people. So advertisers understand that, and they go to these bigger channels and they make brand deals with them, and they do all this kind of stuff. People will make a little extra money on the side by coming to conventions and stuff like that. But the primary source of income is always going to rely on those ads that Google puts on the videos on YouTube. So that's where we're making most of our revenue.
So-
And I assume that the ad revenue then is based on the number of subscribers that you have and the number of views.
Mostly the number of views that you
Views,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then minutes now. too,
Yeah.
views,
Mhm.
So it literally is just like a television or radio rating system, only this time.
Exactly.
Based on views from that.
Yep. And honestly, the bigger your channel gets and the more views you're getting, the better advertisements you're going to get playing on your videos, which means they're going to pay more money. There's off seasons and peak seasons, like the Christmas season. Prime time for us on YouTube. Holy cow!
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah,
everybody,
Right.
all the retail stores are advertising for Christmas. You get those ads on your videos. It's amazing. So yeah, it's crazy. It's a really crazy thing to figure out too. It's hard.
Well, the bigger your channel gets, the better ads you're getting, like you said, but you also get the ads that people can't skip, which
Yeah.
is nice. Like, I know everybody hates it, like, I want to skip this ad, but it's great for us because that's how we make our money.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Did you get your other question?
I remember.
Okay.
Let's say you review a product
Mhm.
and one of your subscribers says, oh, that looks cool, I'll go buy it.
Mhm.
And then it turns out to be, they're very dissatisfied. Do you ever get backlash for that kind of thing?
I've never really had that kind of backlash. I
Like they
get
blame you because they.
blame me. No, I don't think I've ever had anybody blame me for not liking a toy. Crazy enough. Most of my backlash would come from the cynical people up front who are just like, "Oh, you only say you like it because they sent it to you,"
Yeah.
which is not true. It's just not, And I've got a good enough reputation now too with all the companies that send me stuff. They know me. They know my work. They know that I'm going to be honest in my videos. But I'm also the type of guy I'm a very positive person. So I understand that what I'm reviewing is still a toy. It's meant to be fun. It's in some cases or a lot of cases meant for kids. And I always look at it with that mindset. So even if there's something that I don't like, I always point it out, but you're not going to see me ranting and cussing and angry and blaming the toy company for it. I'm just going to say, I don't like the way this is. This doesn't work the way it should, so.
Yeah,
So there's some people up front that are just kind of like, oh, you should be harder on it, but can't say I've ever been blamed for somebody being dissatisfied with a toy.
I think you bring a good point. As long as you're honest with whatever you're doing, then it doesn't matter what the people say. But the attitude is big, especially in this kind of business, where you're reviewing toys and that kind of things. There are two types of YouTube channels that do well. The really angry ones that rant, and then the ones that are happy. There's really no medium, honestly. So you got to pick which one you want, And it's not like being angry about something you like. That's hard to do. Like,
Yeah.
to you really got to work at that to figure. Being angry is easy. Being happy all the time is hard.
Yeah.
And you should work towards whatever's harder than what's easy, like being angry all the time.
I would say that the viewers are kind of split that same way too.
Yeah.
Because I purposely keep my channel very family friendly, and because that's just the way I am. I understand I'm reviewing toys. I want my channel to be fun. I want anybody to be able to watch it. But there are the toy channels out there, and the guys just they don't mind throwing curse words into their reviews and stuff like that. But the thing is like there are people who don't want to watch me because they think I'm too wholesome, but they want to watch the guys that don't care about cursing. So it's there's a balance. There's a place for all of it, I guess.
Was that a conscious decision on your part to keep it clean?
It is, because in the beginning I didn't really think about it too much. Now I never went crazy and dropped a bunch of curse words or anything, but I think at first I was trying to skew more towards my age group. And as I got going through it, I just kind of realized, I want my channel to be open for anybody to be able to watch. If I wasn't a parent yet at the time, but I knew that if I had kids that were watching YouTube, I would want to not have to worry about what they were watching. So that's when I kind of started going that route and just making it where anybody can walk in and watch my stuff and it would work for them.
It's also your name out there. A lot of people forget just because it's a YouTube channel. It's easy to sit in your house and upload it and just call it a day, but your name is now out there.
Right.
So everything you do on camera gets judged, and if you are, if you like to cuss all the time or you like to be just kind of an angry person, you might not be in real life, but everybody thinks you are.
Yeah, I mean, you're representing yourself to the public, so how do you want the public to perceive you? Do you want them to perceive you as a nasty, negative person, or do you want them to perceive you as an optimistic, genuine person? I don't know, we don't curse hardly at all. And that we made that decision to not do that in our videos either, because we didn't want people to see that. And like you said with kids, like if we don't have children, but if we did, I wouldn't want them to watch videos where someone's constantly negative and cursing, because like
They're kids.
They're kids.
They'll
They don't
become
need
that,
to be.
you know?
Yeah.
And you won't be marketable either. I think that's a
Right,
big
definitely.
thing.
When you're negative all the time and you're having a really tough time with life, you're not going to get people wanting to sponsor your videos. You're not going to get the people wanting to send you things, because you're representing their company as well, and they're not going to want somebody who's out there constantly like, I hate this, or this is terrible. Like, who wants that for their product? So
You
you
can still
keep that
get
in
an
mind.
honest review.
Right.
Just if you're the type of guy that
Exactly.
just hates everything, you can still give an honest review and say, well, it's not the greatest, you know,
Yeah.
or whatever, and
I mean,
move on. You know?
Always be honest, be yourself, but don't be so negative that people are going to be intimidated by you if they see you in public.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly aware of the irony that I already said that one of my inspirations was the angry video game nerd.
Yeah.
His whole shtick is cursing and
Yeah.
getting mad, but
I like Alpha Omega Sins.
there you go,
Yeah.
Alpha. Yeah. Man, Bill's a good guy in person. I've met him several times, but his whole thing is being mad.
But
So
he's so funny and intelligent that
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
drops some knowledge on you
Yeah.
and you're like, what?
Are there, because I know that there's a lot of adult-themed toys and products that may come your way.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Well, that's another panel for that one.
We're in the wrong room.
Just in comic figures, and I've seen them. I mean, you know, at
Yeah.
conventions. So there's a lot of things that may not be appropriate.
some of the
in
stuff,
this,
like some of the anime stuff, maybe sometimes gets a little too risque, and there are some just kind of adult-themed action figures that are more made for the collectors. I do try to limit myself on stuff like that. I mean, every now and then you might see me do something that is obviously for an adult audience, but I definitely don't do anything with like nudity on toys or anything like that, because I just don't want to risk putting out that one video and a kid who is subscribed to my channel regularly start watching that video and their mom or dad go, what are you watching?
Right.
And you know what I mean? I just don't want to risk that.
It's a weird subgenre that I don't want to be part of.
Yeah.
So my question is tied to some of what you've been talking about, and including that YouTube startup
Mhm.
kind of thing that you started with. How did you work in marketing? Each of you has your own logo on your chest, things like that. You sort of established, I'll call it a brand identity. But how did you set about marketing yourself? Does YouTube help you get placement? I know that there's a search function. How do people find the initial startup video?
Yeah, you're pretty much on your own at the beginning there.
Dark
for sure.
hallway.
It's tough, and you gotta kind of really take advantage of social media. It's a good tool for you. You know, as soon as you kind of lock down what your channel is, or if you come up with a channel name or a brand that you're trying to create, go register that same brand name on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Grab as many of those as you can so that you can lock that down and then start using them. Post on there as much as you can. Try to network with other people who are doing similar stuff. Don't bombard them and spam them with your stuff, because sometimes that's more of a turnoff than anything. But if you can kind of start trying to network with them, you know, get your stuff seen by some of the eyes, you know, that are watching some of this other stuff, that's helpful. It's good to try to come up with, like when I went full on with the Pixel Dan identity, I worked with a friend of mine who's a graphic designer, and I basically said, I want to come up with an iconic logo that would be my logo. And we worked really hard, threw a bunch of ideas back and forth before we came up with the little pixel blue cube with my name in it. And I feel like it's a great design because we got it, we made it simple, we made it bright and stand out, and now it's recognizable. People know what that is. So try to do something like that if you can work with an artist or if you have a friend even. Friends are super helpful in the beginning. If you've got friends who have talents, utilize those
That's right.
talents. Yeah, like, you know, I had a guy who could do some music and he did some early music tracks for me. I had a graphic design friend. I hit him up for some logos and some images. You know, really try to just use your friends as much as you can in the beginning, because the more of that stuff you can get from the ground floor and really start throwing out there, the more professional you're going to look at the beginning, and that's like a huge step right there.
Yeah, I think you really hit it right there. It's from the jump.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just starting a YouTube channel, get your name. You know, everything's in the name. So, you know, really try to come up with a good name where people, they don't even have to watch your channel, but whatever that name is, they know. what you're probably going to talk about. Come up with a good logo, because people, they remember a logo. That's just the way we are. We're naturally built that way.
Visually.
Yeah, so, if you have that good logo, you have that good name, people will think you know what you're doing. You got to sell that, McDonald's has terrible hamburgers, but they have a good logo, so
And if you can get yourself at places like conventions like this, like obviously when you're starting out, you're not going to be a guest at a show or anything. But I mean, maybe there's some places where you can book tables. If you can do that, do that. If you can't afford that, go to and find them. Do anything you can to just put it out there so people see it, and maybe they'll come check you out. Word of mouth is a big deal. So, yeah.
Well, let's move into something fun. What toys out there right now? What products are out there right now that excite you, that you would like to get? And we're not talking about the adult stuff once again. We're talking about.
I am completely obsessed with the DC Bombshell line. I have pretty much everyone that's out there except for Black Canary, and then of course the ones that are coming out here soon. But that's my favorite thing, and I know we have them all in the background, and people are constantly messaging us, your shelf is bending, it's
warping.
broken, it's warping, take care of those. And I'm like, no, it's fine, I promise. We double check it all the time. Every time I get a comment, it freaks me out. But those are my babies. I love them so much, and I cannot wait to see what's going to go on with that line and what's going to come out with it.
the Star Race Harry Potter.
Yes, oh yes, the Star Ace Harry Potter line. I'm currently collecting those. They're very similar to Hot Toys, if you've seen those. They're very realistic. Right now I have Severus Snape, I have Voldemort on his way, and then I need to get Hagrid because, everybody loves Hagrid.
I'm see, a lot of people know us from Pops, we do
Yes.
collect Pops, but there's a lot behind the camera that you don't see in the background, and I'm a huge Batman fan. So I think I'm only missing about 10 black and white statues, which is something to be said because there's a million of them.
Yeah.
So that's my main collection. I only show a couple in reviews, but that's my love. That's that's my passion, really.
So I'm obviously a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and we are experiencing a crazy renaissance with that property right now, with the amazing cartoon series on Nick and the movies that are okay, but just the brand itself is out there, and it's arguably more popular than it was when I was a kid, and there's so much Turtle stuff to buy, but it's so much fun for me. So I really, the Playmates stuff, Playmates Toys line for the kids is pretty cool, but I'm also really excited about stuff like NECA's doing. They've got those quarter scale movie turtles coming out based on the original movies. They're just
Beautiful.
Oh, I cannot wait to have those. That's the kind of stuff that really excites me. And they just did that arcade exclusive at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's based on the old Konami arcade game that I played a ton when I was a kid. Those might be my favorite toys in my whole collection right now. I love them. So anything Turtles, I'm a big fan of NECA toys in general. The stuff that they do is so good. The Aliens and Predator stuff is really cool, especially because they're doing new figures based on the old Kenner figures that I played with as a kid, which are the really weird, really colorful stuff that wasn't even in the movies. But they're doing new, highly detailed versions of those. There was an alien in the original Kenner line that was translucent green, and he looked like a praying mantis. Had nothing to do with the movies, but he was a cool toy when I was a kid. And NECA's got a new version of that coming out, and it makes me feel like a kid again. I love that kind of stuff.
NECA's coming strong.
NECA's amazing. They just do wonderful work.
And shout out to Loyal Subjects, because Loyal Subjects is
Loyal Subjects
Loyal
is great.
awesome.
Yep.
Is there a brand that is gone that you would like to see come back?
The Food Fighters. Does anybody know what I'm talking about with the Food Fighters? It is the weirdest, most random, obscure toy line from the 80s that Mattel produced that were basically just food items that had big buff arms and military boots and military helmets, and they fought each other, I guess. I mean, there was a French fry guy and a hamburger guy and a taco and a pizza, and they were so weird. I don't know. They're so weird, but I don't know. If they brought those back, I'd be all over them.
Yeah,
You have no idea.
I'm going to throw out a weird one.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't collect it, but I'm just going to throw out the weird one. Anybody remember Mighty Max? Anybody have any
Yeah, Mighty Max.
I loved those when I was a kid.
And the Rock Lords.
Is there a company that's gone?
Kenner. And not like Hasbro bought Kenner, right? Okay, but Kenner made some magical stuff, right? When they were by themselves. Think about all the toy lines from the 90s specifically. 80s too, obviously, and Kenner originated the Star Wars line that Hasbro runs now. But man, just think about all the crazy stuff that Kenner released all through the 90s, you know? They had stuff like Aliens and Predator. They did all those crazy movie license tie-ins back then. Just so many cool stuff. They did the real Ghostbusters line, which was a big one when I was a kid. I don't know, I kind of miss those types of toys. You know, everything these days has to be hyper detailed and super articulated and look really, really good. I miss the days when toys were just fun sometimes. Like, I didn't care when I was a kid that the toy only moved at his head and his arms and his legs, because he came with, you know, cool little pack-ins and he was bright and colorful and looked cool. You know, I'm not knocking the new stuff. Obviously, I love the new stuff. I collect it and I review it and I have fun with it. But man, do I miss that era of toys. I loved it.
Yeah, I'm a kid in the 70s, and so Kenner then, I mean, all those original Star Wars, and the Evil Knievel stunt cycle was the greatest thing in the world. I literally, when I got that for my birthday, I thought, I won.
You won. You won life.
I won, that's it. Yeah.
Awesome.
But that's what I think is amazing, is that, you know, what you are all doing and what's going on here is that these things, when I was a kid, we were just toys and adults would just kind of look down on us. Now it's like, no, we can have fun for the rest of our lives.
Those are the best.
You don't have to just be fun like this. Is there anything that has come out in the past few years that's gotten big or whatever that's surprised you? Like, I can't believe this is a thing, and now it's cool, or I can't believe these kids like this, or yeah.
What'd you say?
Vinyl pop.
Yeah, I think
Vinyl
Pops.
vinyls.
I think we could say something about that. But you know, 2012 was when we started collecting Funko Pops, and they were cool because nobody knew what they were about.
Yeah.
You literally had to find weird places to find these things, and if somebody had them, it was awesome. No matter what it was. If it was like, who would pick up at that comic shop? Frost.
Oh,
Who's the Christmas Frost guy?
Ice Miser.
Yeah, Frost Miser.
Yeah.
Some Miser. There you go. We found him in a random comic shop, just sitting there. We're like, that's cool looking. Let's buy it.
Right.
You know, we get to buy some nostalgia. That's how it is. That's how everybody in this room, I'm sure, you buy a little bit of nostalgia. Well, that thing's like worth like $200 now. It's
I
like
know.
That's insane. I
that's
got that
crazy.
one.
Yeah, those two
Do you have
versions.
the Heat Miser?
I do have a Heat
Oh my
Miser.
gosh, it's on my
The,
list.
the first pops I ever bought were the cereal monsters. They did Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Boo Berry, and I thought it was amazing that there were toys of the cereal monsters. So those were the first pops I ever bought, and it was kind of a downward spiral.
Yeah, the thing about Funko Pops, you know, you love them or hate them. There's nothing else out there that you can have Ghostbusters next to Golden Girls next to Walking Dead on your shelf, and they all look.
He-Man and Turtles
That's
and
right.
Thundercats, and they've done everything.
I think one of the great things about Funko Pops is the price, because you know they're relatively cheap, and if you're a parent, it's a great way to get your kids to like entice them. Say, hey, clean your room, and we can go Funko Pop hunting, or
It's a gateway
take the
collector.
trash out.
It
Yeah,
is a gateway collector.
definitely.
It's amazing how mainstream it is, because even like at my day job, you walk around the office and you just see random Funko Pops on everybody's
Yep.
desks at work.
That's
Everybody
how it is.
just buys the guy that they like and they put it on their desk at work. You know? So.
They are embedded in our culture.
That's
Um,
true.
I would say the thing that I'm most surprised about, but I love, is how mainstream comic book heroes have become.
Yes.
Because when I was growing up, I was a huge fan of the X-Men because of the cartoon series that was on TV. I was buying all the toy action figures. Yep. So you know, when I was a kid, it was all about like the X-Men and then Spider-Man because he had a cartoon series. But that when we were kids, and especially even going younger than us or older, you know, earlier than us, like comic book characters just were not mainstream. There was a geek culture thing. It blows my mind that random mom on the street knows who Iron Man is now.
Definitely.
Iron Man was never mainstream before the Robert Downey Jr. movies. You know, nobody knew who Thor was
Yeah.
unless you were into comic books. And I just love that the comic heroes are so big now, and that kids are enjoying it with their parents, and that I think that's just the best. It's so cool.
Thank you, Marvel, because they started.
Man, that
Absolutely.
Marvel
If DC
Studios.
did it, this wouldn't be
Marvel
here.
good, yay.
We wouldn't be here. DC started the movies.
I think this guy right here had a question.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the old Kenner stuff from the 90s, I was wondering, do you collect any of the old Swamp Thing toys?
Yes. I think I have the whole line of Swamp Thing toys, including the play sets and the little bug buggy thing, the vehicle. They're so good. And what's cool about those is they were kind of like a spin-off of the Superpowers, the DC Superpowers toy line, because Swamp Thing was originally supposed to be included in that line, and then that line got canceled, so that sculpt ended up going into starting a whole new line just for Swamp Thing. So it's kind of cool because there's several variants of Swamp Thing in that line, but the one is an actual superpower sculpt, so a lot of people display them with their superpowers figures. You guys know what Superpowers is, right? That was the big DC line back in the day with Superman and Batman and all that. Really cool line. But yeah, Swamp Thing's awesome.
Swamp Thing's scary.
Anybody else? Yeah, Swamp Thing scared you?
Oh, man. I didn't have anything to do with Swamp Thing.
Anybody else have that? Yeah.
I was just wondering, I know like you mentioned about the one pop that's on your list. Is there like a pop or a toy that you haven't found yet? It's like a deep need looking for, or
Mine's the Dark Knight black and white statue, first edition.
I'm a big Christmas fan. Like, it's one of my favorite holidays, so I'm trying to finish up that line of the Funko Pops. Like, I don't have Misfit Toy yet, and I don't have Heat Miser. Those are the two at the top of my list, and they're both retired or vaulted, so they're hard to find right now, and they're quite expensive. So if anybody knows where those are, hit me up, let me know. I'd like to find them.
Nice. I gotta be honest, I've had a really good year for Grail acquiring. My biggest Grail pieces for the longest time came from the vintage Masters of the Universe line. It was the Laser Power He-Man and Laser Light Skeletor figures. And these figures came out, they were the last figures basically released in the basic lineup of Masters back in the day. And they only got released overseas in countries like Italy. So I didn't even know they existed until I was an adult and I was collecting. Super obscure, super rare. I didn't think I was ever going to own them because of how expensive they are. But I got the opportunity to buy them off a fellow fan this year, and I did. So I own like the two pieces I've always wanted to own for the Masters Universe line. It's amazing. So at this point, I kind of have now directed my attention towards the vintage Ninja Turtles line, because there's some really obscure stuff that came out at the end of that I'm trying to hopefully get at some point. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Scratch before. Yeah, he's like one of the single most rare figures from the vintage Turtles line. He's a cat wearing a prison suit. He's a really weird looking character. But he came out at the very last year of Turtles. He only showed up at places like KB Toy Store because the line was pretty much dead at that point. So there are just not many of him out there. And he sells for tons of money. So one of these days I hope I just find him in a random bin of turtles or something. That would be amazing.
Anyone else? Anything else all want to add? Is there anyone else who should be following on YouTube?
Oh gosh.
Besides you said yourself?
There's so many. Well, hey, can we do this real quick too? Anybody that follows the toy reviewer community online might have saw we had some pretty bad news the last day, a couple days here. Glenn Webb was a very popular action figure toy reviewer on YouTube. He passed away a couple days ago unexpectedly in his sleep. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up and throw some respect his way. I never met him in person, but by all accounts he was an amazing dude. He's got some great content online. He did mostly Marvel stuff and some pro wrestling type reviews, but he was real known for his Marvel toy reviews. So I would highly recommend you guys go check out his stuff. Because at least he's left this awesome legacy behind, this great batch of videos that you guys can check out. Glenn Webb, I would definitely recommend checking him out. He was a great dude, and it's always sad to see somebody go like that. So, you know.
What was his catchphrase? That's going in my basket.
Yeah, so yeah, he did a lot of toy hunting videos and
Yes.
stuff like that too. So just a great dude. He did these awesome. These evolution videos where he would basically show every action figure version of one character in a video. They're wonderful. Like, I watch that stuff and I'm just like, man, this is even beyond me. Like, I don't know.
So much work.
So it's a lot of work he put into that stuff. So if I recommend any channel today, it's his channel. Go check it out. Give him some likes. The awful thing is he was so close to getting 100,000 subscribers before he passed away. He didn't get to see that happen. After he passed, he hit the 100K mark. So it's really cool. Like, his family's going to get the little trick. Because when you hit 100K subscribers on YouTube, YouTube sends you like an award for hitting that milestone. So it kind of makes me happy that his family's going to get that now, and maybe they can kind of, you know, just remember that he was loved. People loved him.
Right.
People loved watching him. But I'm so sad that he didn't get to see that happen, you know.
That's the first, you know.
Yeah, that's like the first big milestone
Yeah,
on
it's very
YouTube.
pivotal.
100K. So I would recommend checking him out. And I'm sorry for bumming you guys out now, but it's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it.
I really like OK Cheap. I think that he's interesting. He goes to a lot of places like Goodwill and flea markets and thrift stores, and he just basically digs through all of these random bins of stuff. And he comes out with like great toys for like $1, $2. It's unbelievable
Dumpster
what he
dives,
gets. Yeah, he does
yeah.
dumpster diving. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I like one. It's only got about 2,000 subscribers, but people really need to start following these people. It's Comic Trips.
Yes.
They literally bought an RV and they drove around the entire country, going to toy stores and comic shops and and all of this. And that's a really fun watch. And they're like an hour long every.
Oh yeah, every time,
episode.
and they're very interesting. They went to recently. They went to a person's house who had one of the most rare comics ever.
Oh man. Yeah,
And he like let him hold it. It was like $1 million comic. I was like, what? I want to touch that.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
really
they're
good
really good.
I got one more that I want to recommend, and he's one I discovered recently, and he deserves more subs too. His name is Weird Paul Petrosky. If you just search for Weird Paul, you'll find him. He is an incredibly interesting character. I don't really know how to describe. Weird Paul is a great name for him. He grew up in the 70s and 80s, so he was like a teenager in the 80s. But the thing that is so wonderful about his channel is he has all of these old tapes from when he was a kid, because he filmed everything when he was a kid. So he constantly puts up all this old footage of being like a teenager in the 80s and all the toys and stuff that he had. And he does all these just crazy videos of like, he kept everything too. Like, dude's a total pack rat, right? He has everything from when he was a kid. He did this video on like McDonald's game scratch-offs, and he just like kept all these crazy scratch-offs from when he was a kid. But like, I could not stop watching his channel because he's so charming. So go check him out. He's probably got something on there that you'll like. He's got crazy weird hair, and like he's got like this crazy bowl cut, right? He just looks like, when I first started watching, and he films everything on like a VHS tape. So his videos look like old, but they're not old, they're new. But it's just like, when I first started watching him, I was like, this has got to be like a gimmick, right? But it's not, it's him. And it's so charming.
That's his art style.
It's so cool. Check him out, Weird Paul.
And I assume that everybody. I'm sorry. I assume everybody also watches Game Chasers / Toy
Yeah.
Chasers.
Billy and Jay, woo!
Right.
Those are buddies of mine. Hey, I've been on a few episodes of that show.
Well, we're going to have to wrap this up because it looks like we're getting invaded by very small costume heroes here in the back. But we want to thank everyone here, Pixel Dan from Nerd Therapy, and if you so round of applause, please.
Thank you guys so much.